Hey everyone, you are listening to the Property Podcast, and I'm Rob B with Rob D, and this is episode 249. Someone very wise once said, never make predictions, especially about the future. Well, this week, we ignore that good advice.
Yes, welcome to the podcast. For some reason, we do this every year. It's become a Christmas tradition, like mince pies, eating too much and falling out with your family. We're going to look back at the predictions we made this time last year and be silly enough to make some for 2018. So that's coming up in a sec. But first, Rob, if you haven't finished your Christmas shopping yet, we've got the perfect gift for you.
We have, Rob. It's a wonderful gift. It can be a gift to another or a gift to yourself. What is it? It's a Property Hub Summit ticket. Unlimited in supply as well, because, Rob, I'm sad to say, it's the last two we're ever going to do.
Yep, they will be. Sad to see them go, but we've just got too much going on next year. You'll hear some more about that in next week's episode, about some of the things we've got coming up in 2018. But we just do not have time to do the summits anymore. But they have been exceptionally popular. We got fantastic feedback on them. So if you would like to come and get the benefit of the summit before it's too late, then you need to go to thepropertyhub.net/summit and book your place.
And if you have no idea what we're talking about and you're starting to think this has got something to do with mountain climbing, then go to that link as well, thepropertyhub.net/summit, where you can learn more about exactly what it is and how you can benefit.
Right, we can't delay it any longer. Let's talk predictions. And let's start by looking back at the predictions we made last year and hear how we got on. So, Rob, to kick things off, you made some bold predictions about what was going to happen with property prices in different regions of the UK. Let's have a listen to what you said.
There's a city in the north that I think will see double-digit growth next year. Bold, I know. If it doesn't get double-digit, it'll be close, but Manchester. I think Manchester this year will grab all the headlines. Liverpool and Leeds, I think, are going to be really, really interesting options next year for property investors. They'll see positive growth, absolutely. And I believe Liverpool and Leeds will see stronger growth than London, but not as strong as Manchester. Well, Rob, I'm pleased to say I was pretty much correct there. I'm happy with that. Now, that prediction, now it's pretty much true, may seem like, oh, well, of course. But you have to remember, when that prediction was made, London was outperforming all those areas. So it's pleasing and convenient that we started the show with a correct answer. Hooray! So Manchester didn't quite make double-digit growth, but I said it would be there or close, and it's about 8% right now. We haven't quite finished the year, but it's going to be close to double-digit growth, and it's leading the UK. And Leeds and Liverpool are both outperforming London, and they've both grown roughly around about 6%, with London lagging behind at 3%. So they've doubled what London's done in terms of growth this year as well. So interesting. Got plenty more to say about those cities as well in our predictions for next year, but a nice start to the show, Rob. I'm happy with that.
Yep, good result there. Yep, let's see if we can carry that on. I made a prediction about price growth across the UK as a whole. Let's have a listen to that one. Nationally, I'm going to say no more than 2% growth across the board. Oh, that's pretty close.
It is close, Rob. I'll give you that. That's close.
Yeah, according to Nationwide from their house price data, growth was 2.5% in the year to November. So not quite there, but very, very close.
It was close, Rob. But next, we've got London, and we've not done so well on our predictions on London in the past. So let's see how we did last year.
I'm going to say that prices will be flat in London.
And I'm going to say that London will dip slightly. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try and feel better about myself because I was less wrong than you were. I said flat and you said dip, but no, grew by 3%. So wrong about London yet again.
Yeah, you could put yourself close, Rob, because inflation was 2.9%. So then it kind of was flat if you do it that way, but I think we're trying to manipulate the truth there. So no. And next up, we made some predictions around the media.
My next prediction is media negativity. I think that you're going to start reading a lot of scare stories about the property market this year.
To throw another prediction in, Rob, don't see any negativity from the government in terms of new tax plays anyway for buy-to-let investors. But I definitely don't see any new taxes coming in, any new plays against buy-to-let investors in 2017.
Yep, I think we can definitely give ourselves that one. If you've opened a newspaper in the last year, you will have definitely seen stories about how buy-to-let is doomed, about how landlords are leaving the market in droves, about all the terrible things that are going to happen as a result of all the tax changes. There's been no shortage of that at all, and we did see that one coming.
And you also heard there that we predicted no new government negativity, and there wasn't really much to report this year from the government, which is very pleasing. And in line with that, no new taxes, property related anyway. Again, correct. So media negativity and government negativity, our predictions on both, and taxes, all correct. Lovely.
All right, looking pretty good. Then I had a prediction to make about what the Bank of England would do to the base rate. I think that the base rate is going to end 2017 no higher than 0.5%.
Bravo, Mr. D. Bravo. Another one correct. I'm enjoying this year.
I was very close to saying no base rate rise, but I gave myself a little bit of an out, back up to 0.5%, and I'm glad I did, because they snuck that in towards the end of the year. We have another tick in the box there.
And finally, we made some predictions around limited company mortgages. So most of the lenders in the limited company market at the moment are not your mainstream lenders. I expect at least one, maybe more, mainstream lenders to come into the limited company buy-to-let market, and that will provide a huge boost to the sector. Well, I think we should retire now, Rob.
Yep, I think so. New lenders coming in. Well, the Mortgage Works helpfully towards the end of the year entered the limited company market, and lending in general for limited companies so much better than it was a year ago.
So all in all, Rob, I'd say that's a 8 out of 10 year, 8.5. That's pretty good. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the end of the show. Oh, no, we've got to do predictions for next year. Damn it.
Boo. Let's ruin all our good work.
Yeah.
I'll definitely be danning off that at the next meetups I go to. So we'll let you know which Property Hub meetups we'll be going to in the new year, so you can avoid us both, because we'll be a bit smug. But don't worry, we'll make some predictions now to even everything out.
Okay. So would you like to kick us off, Rob?
Alrighty. Well, as picking out cities seem to be pretty good for us so far, I'm going to focus on cities. And I'm going to say, and this is my big one to watch next year, I'm going to say that Liverpool will be in the top 3 cities for capital growth next year. Now, it's not there yet. It's doing well. And it's done better the second half of this year than it has done the first. But I think it'll really kick on next year, and I expect to see Liverpool in the top 3. I'm really going to create a rough way back here and tell you the other 2 cities I think will be in the top 3. If this was a betting accumulator, I'd make a fortune. So next I'm going to put in there Manchester and Birmingham, in no particular order, but I expect the top 3 to be made up of Liverpool, Manchester and Birmingham. And to put even more pressure on top, Rob, I think Leeds will be in the top 5 as well. So I picked 4 out of the top 5 there of cities. So I'm pretty much doomed next year when we review this, because to get them all right is going to be tough. But I think I'll be there or thereabouts.
Well, getting very specific now. Clearly feeling confident after last year's predictions. Okay, I'm going to stay away from cities, and I'm going to make a prediction about growth across the whole of the UK, or rather not growth. I'm going to predict that UK-wide house prices will actually fall in real terms next year. Now that sounds dramatic, but it actually happened this year. We saw that prices grew by 2.5% according to Nationwide, and inflation, I believe, is at 2.9%. So in fact, that's already happened. And I'm just saying that I think that's going to continue again next year. I think we'll continue to see relatively high inflation and relatively low price growth, and therefore a real terms fall. So it sounds dramatic, but really I'm just saying that I think growth is probably going to be less than 3% and inflation's probably going to be a little bit more.
As I was so specific with my last prediction, I will make a UK prediction, but I'll give myself a little bit more bandwidth here. I'm going to say UK growth will be less than 5% in total. So I've given myself plenty to work with there. But it'll be in positive territory, but it'll be less than 5% total.
I think you've earned that one. Okay, for some reason, I find it necessary to tackle London again, despite our repeated failure every single year. This year, I'm going to be a little bit more vague, because I just want to be right about London one year. So I'm not going to put a percentage on it. All I'm going to say is that I think London is going to be outperformed by every other region of England. So I'm excluding Scotland and Wales, But I'm just saying that London is going to perform more poorly than every other region of England. That, again, might sound surprising if you haven't been paying attention to what's been going on this year, but that has happened this year. That's probably going to surprise a few people, but I don't see any sign of that changing next year.
Yeah, it's amazing how some people are probably clinging to old beliefs that London's doing well in the property market, but it's right at the bottom. And in the UK, only really Aberdeen's performing worse. But as you say, in England, it's at the bottom of the league. So moving away from areas and cities altogether now, I'm going to make some general predictions. And I think the trend of lenders, mainstream lenders, entering the limited company market will continue. We've currently got one as we record this. I would expect at least four big name lenders to be in the market by the end of 2018. So we will see. But I think others will look at the mortgage works and think, I want a piece of that pie too, and follow suit. So let's see what plays out.
Yep, definitely agree with you on that one. And I'm going to reiterate my prediction from last year because it went well and say that there's going to be no base rate rise this year. That might be surprising with inflation being on the high side. You might think that they'd increase it, but I just don't think that the economy can take it at the moment. So I think we'll still be at 0.5% next year. Now, Rob, we've done so well. How'd you like to really go out on a limb and take some risks now?
Okay, so let's look at the 18-year property cycle. So throw some rationale behind what we're about to do. We are entering or have entered the mid-cycle wobble, and next year we expect that to be the same as well. So if you actually look at what we've predicted, other than a few key cities, it's a pretty flat year. It's an unexciting year. Yes, Manchester is doing incredibly well, and yes, Liverpool and Leeds look like they're on the up too. But these are pockets in the country where most areas are not doing that well at all. And as we've seen, house price growth this year, in real terms, has actually fallen because it's below inflation. So, all that being said, I think next year will be similar. It's not going to be a powerhouse year as we predicted, but I think this is not just going to be reflected in property. I think this will be reflected in the economy as a whole. Now, Rob, I'm going to make a couple of predictions and feel free to say yay or nay or stay away for your own safety. It's up to you. But my first prediction will be at some point next year, in 2018, Bitcoin will crash by at least 40%. I can't see it not happening. I know it sounds very bold because that's a huge percentage fall. But the last time I've seen anything like this happen, they were trading tulips in Holland many years ago. And for those who don't know what happened there, it didn't end well. And I think the same will be applied to Bitcoin. Now, I know lots of people are passionate about Bitcoin, and we'll probably get lots of tweets and comments telling us why Bitcoin will continue to rise and rise and rise. And I'm not saying long term it isn't a good thing. I think it's very, very interesting and one to watch for the long term future. But what's happened in the short term is bonkers, and I feel we'll see at least a 40% correction at some point.
Yeah, I'd go with you on that. I think given its recent run-up, there's a good chance of that happening. But then once it's corrected by that amount, give it a few months, and it might have regained it again. The volatility in Bitcoin is just crazy. So I'm going to go with you on the crash, but I wouldn't be surprised if it made up a lot of those gains again afterwards. But we will see.
We will. Okay, so moving on, possibly a bolder prediction is that I think we will see a stock market correction in the US and UK. Now, when I say correction, nowhere near the level of falls of Bitcoin, in double digits, but nowhere near 40%. But I do feel, looking at market cycles, we are due a correction. Now, this may be stimulated by world events, it may be stimulated by Bitcoin, or it may be that people just think, wait a minute, what's Facebook worth and all those other tech stocks, and think, actually, that's just madness. Whatever triggers it, I think there's a good chance that trigger will take place next year. I'm surprised it hasn't happened already, but now that clock is ticking, and I think we're due one. My timing might be out, but I'm going to be bold and say I think it's going to be 2018.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm brave enough to pin it to a year, but I think the logic is absolutely right. And if it doesn't happen next year, then it will happen soon afterwards. It's really interesting. I've seen sort of the way things are in the world now described as the everything bubble. Like everything is expensive. House prices are expensive. Stock markets are expensive. There's Bitcoin. There's all these other things. Largely as a result of QE, which we talked about before, and low interest rates. Everything is just up in the clouds, and that includes the stock markets. I feel certain that there'll be a correction at some point soon. And I hope for your sake, Rob, it's in 2018, because then you're going to look very smart.
Well, It's about time, Rob. I've been waiting a long time to look very smart. I will add, though, that I wouldn't panic if we have a stock market correction because it's expected. I don't think it'll be a full-on crash. And I think in the long term, it'll be fine. I don't think this is a 2008 event when it happens. I just think it's a mid-cycle wobble. And we're due one. So why not put it as to next year? It'll make next year's podcast more interesting.
So there you go. We had a very good set of 2017 predictions. We've got very specific for 2018 and gone a little bit out of our normal area as well. So how will we get on? Well, you're just going to have to keep listening to the podcast to find out. And when you do listen, you will, of course, be leaving us a review because it makes us very happy. And every time someone does, we like to acknowledge it on the show. So, Rob, who's left us a review this week?
Well, a huge thanks to Beverly. Beverly says, "Hi, Rob and Rob. I've recently downloaded your podcast and been catching up on past episodes. They are really easy listening as well as very informative. My hubby and I are looking to invest this year and we've already spoken to your lovely Matt at R&P Property about sourcing our first property for us. We'll be soon looking to come down to London for a one-on-one chat. We're also looking forward to going to the next property meetup in Liverpool. So exciting times ahead and I will be staying glued to all the good stuff you're putting out there. Thanks so much, Beverly." Well, thank you, Beverly. And if you are thinking, wow, what can you get Rob and Rob? The guys who must have everything. Well, we don't for a start. Rob's a minimalist and he hardly has any items at all. But if you do want to get us something, a review. What a lovely Christmas present. A 5-star review.
Okay, so that is it for this week. And that's nearly it for 2017, but not quite. We've got one more episode for you this year. Just because it's the Christmas season doesn't mean we take a week off. We're going to be back next week with our review of the year and tell you a little bit about what's coming up in 2018.
We certainly will. Remember, Ask Rob and Rob will be back in the new year, but don't worry, you can still get your questions in. If you go to thepropertyhub.net/ask, you can leave your property questions and we will start answering them again in the new year. And remember, if you are struggling for that perfect Christmas gift, you've got the Property Hub Summits. That could be a gift to yourself or to somebody else. Last two as well. So you could say they're a rare exclusive product. There's only what's left and then they're gone.
Yep, but for now, all that remains is to wish you a very, very happy Christmas. Bye-bye for now.
Happy Christmas, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to The Property Podcast. For show notes, all our past episodes, and to leave a review, go to thepropertyhub.net/podcast.